What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Twin Sons Podcast, episode 48. This week, we're joined by, I told you, it's butchered what I said I was going to do for the intro, but whatever. This week, we're joined by SchitJustWorks.
SchitJustWorks. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
As always, we have Josh. Josh, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. It's a fine Thursday night.
Yep, it's a great Thursday night, so welcome in. SchitJustWorks, thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem. You totally just messed with my head there at that opening now. So now I don't know what to expect for the entire rest of the podcast, but I like it. Keep me on my toes. Yeah. It's cool.
I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And then I just completely didn't do what I thought I was going to do.
Take two.
No, dude. No, there has never been a take two, and there will never be a take two. Okay, we just go. Before we get jumped in fully, shout out to our sponsor, RuneterraCCG.com. They are sweet people, and they have a ton of articles out right now. I just wrote one, just came out today, actually. It was a full breakdown of the United Front Lab. So every card you can expect to use, the zero-cost little fleeting cards, also all the Noxus complete nonsense they have, what champions are. I even put a tier list in there, dude. I went hard for a tier list. Yeah. So if you really care, if you really want to metagame the lab, I got you. And then if you want to look at good content, Den, the winner of the EU first seasonal, he put a whole article literally just talking about the pass mechanic. So if you want to deep dive into the pass mechanic, jump on over there. As well as Agigas is busting out tons of matchup guides. He has 2 more up on the site. And then lastly, Mezume put out a 7 off meta decks to break your, obviously you're pounding your head playing Lee Sin and Ezreal Draven. So if you need a break from that, Mezume's got you covered with 7 off meta decks, which was a super fun article and super fun read. I tried a few of those decks. Lots of Fizz and Zoe in there. So
Agigas is the shit, by the way. So his articles are on point. I've read his stuff before, and very good player, Agigas. So
yeah. Have you? So you've probably casted. I mean, I don't know if you've casted Den. I'm not sure if you casted that. But you definitely casted Agigas at some point.
I've casted Mezume. I've casted Agigas. I know of Den. I just can't remember whether or not we actually casted a game of Den. But yeah. If you name somebody, I've probably casted them at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does a lot of the EU stuff currently. He's still over there, so I don't know how much. I know that would probably screw with your sleep schedule or work schedule. I know the EU stuff sometimes happens.
Sleep. Who needs that? Come on.
Who sleeps? Who sleeps? All right, so we're going to ask you some general questions just to get an introduction. For those that don't know, SchitJustWorks is a caster. I guess, would you say your partner is Boulevard, your casting partner? Is that who you're seeing most with?
I was just going to say, wait, just partner or casting partner? Those are two questions there. Me and him, we generally cast everything together. I'm open to casting with other people. Like if you hit me up with a good opportunity, then yeah, I'm down. I mean, I can usually jive with whoever, but yeah, man, I love Boulevard. Boulevard's a good dude, and we have some fun together on cast, and we mesh well together too when we're casting. So yeah, Boulevard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I've seen you with at least like the 3 or 4 times that I've tuned in. So that's why.
Whoa! Hold on, only 3 or 4 times.
Dude,
he's really slacking.
Wow, why did I even agree to come on this podcast? What is this? Jesus, guys.
Well, live. I've watched the the VODs and things.
Okay.
No, he hasn't. No, he can't redeem himself.
I just mute it though. I just don't hear it.
Just for the view.
I just mute it. That's all. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, dude. Most of my work time is filled with watching Runeterra videos, so it does happen. All right. So general questions, Josh. You want to take the first one there?
Sure. Would you like to dive into your gaming history? What brings you on as a caster all the way from the start?
Wow, damn. All right. So back when I was 4 years old, no. I mean, I've been playing games since I was that young, so that's the first thing there. But I don't know. So I think my first ever card game. Let's start with that. My first ever card game was technically Pokemon, but that was the whole. I got the cards, had no freaking idea what any of them did, and I thought that because I had Charizard, I was the shit, right?
I think that's everyone's childhood.
Yeah, exactly. That's everybody can get with that. So after that, the first game that I actually attempted to learn was Magic. I think the first cards. Jump. Yeah, right. Yeah. Much more difficult. But this was back in. I mean, I'm dating myself here because I'm 19, by the way. I think it was like 1996 or 7 or 8 in that area. I bought a Portal deck whenever the Portal decks came out. and that's old ass Magic cards for those of you who don't know what portal decks are.
Yeah.
And like if you got one unopened today, it'd probably be worth hundreds of dollars. But yeah, and I started to learn with one of my friends back then. I kind of stopped playing card games in particular for maybe a couple years. Then I got back into Dragon Ball Z. That was how I got back into it. Which, dude, you like Dragon Ball Z? Yes, hell yeah, dude. My shirt, right?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So, I loved the Dragon Ball Z trading card game. I'm so pissed that Score at the time screwed it up. Because Score was the one that had released that game, and so that got me going to this card shop down the street, and eventually, the dude that I had kind of a friendship with that ran the card shop, he's like, "Why don't you like go downstairs? There's people chilling down there." So this was the Magic people at the time. So if you guys can picture a group of Magic dudes in the basement of a card shop, just real quick, picture what that is in your head. I know everybody has the same picture right now. And so I was like, no, I'll pass. But I went back another weekend and there was Yu-Gi-Oh players down there one day. For some reason, I don't know, the Yu-Gi-Oh players seemed chiller to me at that time. I don't know why. Lo and behold, that was a huge mistake. But anyways, I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And that's when I started playing competitively when I was like maybe 14, 15 and going to regionals, Shonen Jump, stuff like that. I never like won a huge Shonen Jump or anything like that, but I've topped my fair share of regionals and, all that good stuff. At the time too, I was card game fanatic. So I was playing every card game under the sun. Inuyasha, Star Wars. I know you got Star Wars over there. There was a baseball card game, rolling dice that I played. MLB Showdown, if you guys even know that.
I think the Blevins and the Saucy Mailman talk about that in one of their episodes, actually.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. So that game was pretty good for a baseball like dice game. So and then like Inuyasha was really good. So pissed they ended that. Yu Yu Hakusho I played. That was a really good card game. They screwed that up by like the fourth set.
I didn't even realize these animes had card games. That's crazy.
Dude, they all have card games.
Oh, every single. If you can name an anime, they probably get a card game for
That's
it.
amazing.
And it sucks though because most of those companies had zero clue how to balance card games. At the time, it was really just Wizards was the only one that knew how to balance, and even that was kind of pushing it. So fast forward, as I got older, Hearthstone, because it was like this huge thing. Like, oh my god, we can play cards on a computer. This is amazing.
Instead of my tablet, just on my couch.
Oh my god,
cards, baby.
Well, yeah, and because as a card game player before that. Like you guys must have been through this too, right? Where you're like, damn it, like none of my friends are around. I can't play a freaking card game because you need to have the physical deck. The person needs to be with you. You need to play.
Yeah.
Actually, did you guys ever play card games on AOL Instant Messenger when you were younger? No. How old are you guys?
I'm 27.
Yeah, 26, yeah.
Okay, so you guys probably had AOL Instant Messenger at some point.
Oh, yeah,
right?
definitely had it. I've never played a card game through it.
So I used to go on forums. That's how desperate I was to play card games back then. I used to go on like a forum online and people would do tournaments like we do now, except we would have to type what we drew. So there was this whole thing with like cheating and stuff, obviously. It was the worst freaking way to play card games. But like that was how desperate people were to play card games. But so Hearthstone made it so much better. And then Hearthstone got really shitty because of RNG. So like everybody else, had the same problem. And I started exploring around different things. And then Riot just released a ridiculously balanced card game with so many of the things that I think so many games were missing. And now I'm here. And I've played all the games in between. I love Final Fantasy, all that good shit. Lots of
I see them back there. I see Tifa and Cloud back there.
Yeah,
Josh is picking them all out.
You a Final Fantasy fan?
7, yeah. That's like when I was growing up watching my brothers play that, and then I ended up playing it. So,
all right. So, question about the Dragon Ball card game. So, you played. What was the maker of the one that you played? Who made that one?
Score Entertainment.
Was that the one with the sword that pulled out as your power?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's quality. Yeah. So I had an older brother, 9 years. So I didn't have the problem of who to play with because I was just forced to play all the games with my older brother. So it was quality. But we played the one after that by Bandai as well. They had a Dragon Ball card game. Yeah. So we went to like Gen Con for that a bunch. Like we were like super into that one. But that was the one where the Naruto game could actually play with you at the same time.
That was a really weird one.
Super weird. Yeah.
That was the one that I played the least. Yeah. That was. Oh, and actually, I have it in my closet right there too. I have a box of the newest Dragon Ball, which is like, I don't know, the 5th time they've recreated this game now.
Exactly. Yes.
and it just feels worse every single time they make it. It's like nobody can recreate the anime in anything other than the anime. Like Dragon Ball Evolution, the movie, that was ass. That was the worst anime movie ever. Like they
it's
just
up
can't.
there with Avatar. It really is.
Yeah, Avatar's
like
bad
that
too.
and Evolution. Both the worst. That's hilarious. I feel like anytime we have a guest on, we talk about a different indie card game that I played with them. Like Josh is relatively new to card games with Runeterra and things. But like I talked about Destiny with Blevins, with Umbrage. I talked about Marvel Versus. I don't know if you ever tapped into that one at all. There's like Marvel and DC.
That was a huge game.
That was big.
When I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, Versus was really competitive, and they just fell off the map.
Yeah. Umbrage worked on that. The game director for
that doesn't surprise me. That was a good game.
It was, yeah. He said he broke it. He said one of the combos came out, broke the game, and no one noticed or something. I was like, all right, cool.
I'm just gonna slowly leave the room now. I broke this game. Like,
by the way, I quit. All right, so we know your gaming history. When did the content creation side of it? You've been casting Runeterra. Did you do any content for any of those games as well, YouTube or anything like that, or was Runeterra the first one?
Runeterra is the first one.
Nice.
I ran a trucking company with my father that my father was working at another job. So I basically ran it on a day-to-day basis. We unfortunately ended up having to close it down. And it was very business corporate-y oriented, right? Like that's the trucking industry is all about business. Everybody just wants to make the next penny. And I was like, you know what? I really fucking like video games. Like why did I ever do anything but play video games with my life? And so I got a job to pay the bills and stuff like that. Like I have another job right now, and but I started doing this, and this was probably I think September, October of 2019 is when I first started, and then I think like once 2020 once 2020 happened,
yes, the year
I took, and this is what I try to tell people too, like, especially with what I've done in this last year. I saw what happened in 2020 as an opportunity. I'm like, oh, you mean my job? Because I actually was lucky enough to keep my job the whole time. My job is letting me work from home the whole time. Oh, hell yeah. Like, okay, now I can do all this other stuff. And this is what it equated to. Like I was able to, cast, sign me up. Another tournament, sign me up. So I just over and over and over again. And I like it. I like it a lot. YouTube. I have a podcast as well, like I told you about. And then, just casting as well. And I like casting a lot more than I thought I did, like a lot more. So worked out.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I mean, I dabbled in content right before this game with Star Wars Destiny. That's another Star Wars card game I played at one point. But it was mainly my friend who's running the whole show. I kind of just showed up and talked about some janky nonsense every once in a while. Then something about lore just made me, fall head over heels into this game. So I guess that's, the same with you a little bit to a degree. Lore just did it for you.
Well, yeah, lore. So that's where I lucked out. A lot of people, I think they look at some of the larger streamers, and I think a lot of people have this perception of like, and when I say large, I mean like Nick Merckx, right? Like these guys, they're like, they just got lucky. Like, Ninja, he got lucky because Fortnite blew up. Well, to an extent, that's true because the timing worked out. It so happened that when it all kind of worked when we closed down the business and then COVID and then lore releasing around the same time, that kind of worked out perfectly for me. But you also have to recognize that opportunity. Like, oh, there's a new card game coming out. I'm going to jump on it and make content for it. You can't drag your feet. So lore is 100%. That like drove it home for me. That was the cherry on top. Like I even got the perfect game in a genre that I love that actually seems like people who know what they're doing are making the game. This is going to end well. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. A little bit about us. I mean, we've said this once or twice in the cast. We don't always talk about it, but essentially we were in a very similar situation to you where we kind of came to the point where we wanted to do content, but we weren't sure what. And this actually wasn't even Josh. It was our other host, Mikey. And it was me and Mikey, and we were like talking about different games, talking about different things. Should we make a general podcast? And then I kind of was just like, dude, I'm obsessed with lore. Like I was playing it in beta, and I'm like, you can see the groundwork of how perfect this game was gonna be. So then I was like, we gotta dive into that. And then Mikey's got the attention span of not the the longest. Mikey, if you're out there, I love you, Mikey. So he's like, he dabbles, comes back every once in a while. But Josh, we picked him up. I've grown up with Josh. We've been friends in second grade. But Josh was like, League's my favorite game. Runeterra is pretty tight. I like card games a bit. Let's jump in. But exactly, kind of just perfect timing thing where it's like, hey, we wanted to do content as soon as the game was coming out, so it worked out. We're like, all right, let's go,
Exactly. Yep.
And hopefully, only up from here. We got it 1 year in the books, and that's it. So
that's cool that you guys have known each other for that long too. That's awesome. I know, not a lot of people are able to keep a friend for that many years, or not even like keep a friend, like you screw it up or something. But like,
he's not my friend though. I just
I'm just here.
Let's clarify this.
He needs someone to host the stream.
You're being used right now. But people spread apart after a while. They go move to another state or something. So that's awesome that you guys are able to do that.
Yeah.
It also helps. We played Ultimate Frisbee together, and then went to the same college, and then stayed in New Jersey.
Okay.
Just followed each other around the whole time.
It's funny. A lot of people from New Jersey, when I was in college at University of Rhode Island, a lot of people from Jersey would come up to URI. It was like URI was like the school that a bunch of people from Jersey came to. We didn't know why, but we always joked about it.
That's funny.
It was just, I don't know. It's just something about Jersey with URI.
Yeah, there's always these like surrounding states that are just like they want to just be just far enough away from home. But still come back if they had to. It's like
we're only a 4-hour drive away.
Yeah, exactly. Far enough where parents won't visit every weekend.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. So you found lore. Actually, no, that is the next question. I like to ask this for everybody because I think it's super interesting. Did you find lore at League 10 when they started announcing all the other games, or did you see it right at the beginning, or did you find it from a friend? Like, how did you actually hear about it the first time, if you remember?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. Holy shit, I wasn't expecting this question. I don't. What was the thing that you said? League 10?
They did. Josh, wasn't it like a 10th anniversary thing where they announced that's when they announced Valorant and like all these other games at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you just nailed it. Okay, then I think that's what it was. I didn't know. I never referred to it like that. Yeah. I remember watching that anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like I have this inkling of a feeling I might have found it somewhere else, but I'm almost positive it was from that live stream of that when they announced it. And then I was like, I'm all over this. I signed up to get into the closed beta.
Yeah, right.
Played the closed beta, played the open beta, and just went, balls to the wall for the whole thing, man. I was all in.
See, I figured that would probably be because, you're just even mentioning the closed beta and stuff. Not everyone even knows that was a thing because it was a window of a weekend or whatever, 2 different weekends throughout, whatever it was. So it's like, I know a lot of people are just, my friend kind of pulled me in, or, I saw it when a lot of people just saw it on mobile launch. Honestly, I get that answer a lot. Rising Tides dropped and all that. And people were like, oh, sweet, Pirates.
Yeah.
that was the actual release, right?
Yeah,
I think that was coming out.
Rising Tides launched simultaneously with the game fully releasing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a crazy whatever. I think it was August. Wild. Josh, you want the next one, buddy?
Yes.
A couple more intro questions.
The most important question.
This is no pressure.
What is your favorite emote?
Wait,
I want as a player your favorite emote, and
that's a good one.
And I want to know your favorite emote to see as a caster. Just like if they do emote,
Okay. Okay.
Dude, tournament meta for emotes is intense, dude. It seriously is.
I almost want to because I feel like I'm gonna forget one. I'm Googling all the emotes right now. Okay, here we go. Here's like a tier list. Whoever made this, thank you. Okay, so let's see. I would say, all right. So my favorite emote, just like personally for me, is, and I know like Boulevard argued with me about this one time because it's basically the only time you can use it is when you're losing, and that's the Nocturne emote. Because specifically, I'm still convinced that Yu-Gi-Oh will be saved one day, and it will be super playable and competitive. I mean, it's still not a bad game, but it's pretty broken. So yeah, that's near and dear to my heart because of the whole Kaiba thing, and I think that's great that they worked something like that in the game. I love the small things that Riot does like that, and the nods to the champions. So you said I play League of Legends as well, and I love seeing the champions so well represented in the game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So now, as far as a competitive emote, I got to say, I don't see it a lot, and this is probably going to be like a hot take, but I when somebody actually uses the fizz emote, I love that emote because that is such BM. It's like, but it's like good BM. Like it's like they're BMing you when the opponent plays fizz or does the fizz emote. But at the same time, you're like, that's kind of funny. Like, all right,
yeah,
you can't be mad that they're BMing you, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go with fizz.
I love the fizz.
I think he's underrated. Honestly, he might be one of the most underrated. I don't buy that many. I've got like maybe 8 emotes, which is a lot, I guess. But a lot of people buy all of the emotes, so 8 is low. But yeah, Fizz was one of the first ones I bought. Like, this thing's great, dude. He's so trolly, but like,
not a lot of people.
Every tier list is like D or lower. I'm like, damn.
You know which one's never used? Gangplank doesn't use it. Nobody.
I have that one too. I buy all the crap tier, all the crap emotes, dude.
Yeah,
I was hoping you were gonna say Lux. Lux is personally my favorite. I just feel that in everywhere.
Yeah. Vlad is my favorite.
Do you use Lux to replace Braum?
Dude, I use Lux for everything, to be honest with you. Like,
I feel like a lot of people used to use Braum for everything, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So okay, all right, because it's the kind of same thing. Like Braum's like happy waving, and Lux is happy giving you the thumbs up. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like sorry. Anytime I put something cool, I'm like, yeah, sick, dude. Anytime I do something cool, I'm like, yeah,
great top deck, man. Like great, yeah.
It's a nice Baron you got when you have 0 cards. Yep.
That's actually how I use Vlad. I use Vlad in that same way. It's like, oh, you got a good thing, and then or it's like, oh, good game, Or usually,
cheers, bro.
If I'm losing, usually I don't, unless it was like I was actually impressed. Like they outplayed me, I'll do the Vlad emote. Like, okay, you got me. But if it's just a top deck win, then I'm just like, surrender, get out of here. No emotes for you.
And okay, so all right, actually, so let me ask you guys then. Between Vlad and Shen, which one for the end of the game, GG?
I've turned into a Vlad. I used to do Shen, but I seem to always just do Vlad. Starting game, end game, just Vlad.
Vlad. I'm a Shen guy. I'm Shen. I keep it classy.
Yeah, I think I still do Shen a lot. You know what the problem is for me too? I wish they had a way in client to like I'll set my emotes for a deck and then I'll switch to another deck and I'm like, shit, my freaking emotes they're different now. Like I wish you could just set like I like how you can do it per deck, but I wish they also had like a global one where it's like, all right, I'm just gonna use these for all my decks.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But you can't do that, unfortunately. So
it's so funny that we're spending this much time talking. So I've never brought this up. I'm going to bring it up now, Josh. I have to. Our editor, okay, is a very interesting person. I've also known him since 3rd grade.
Oh God,
he hates emotes, like to the point where he's like, dude, like as soon as they like Braum wave me at the end of the game, like I literally don't play for the rest of the day. Like gets mega tilted from emotes. I'm like, he's the only person I've ever heard with this. I'm like, there's a mute button. And he's like, every time we have a Riot employee on, he's like, can you ask them when they're going to put like in the settings, perma-mute the emotes? I'm like, dude, they're not going to
never going to do that. They're never going to do that. Like it's already in there, man. Just click it every game.
Like, I forget. And then at the end of the game, they just Braum wave me, dude. I'm like, dude, you gotta calm down,
like,
man. It's all right.
Hey man, do you ever think like maybe they're just waving to say hi? Like, you know, it's not bad.
But wait, he's gonna love that we just talked about emotes for this long because he is so funny, dude. I actually like. So the last thing I want to add to it, I like emotes because so like what you just said, you kind of use Vlad in a different way sometimes. Exactly.
Like when somebody so everybody uses emotes differently. Like your Poro emote might be my Vlad emote. I mean, that's a really drastic difference there. But like, you get what I'm saying though. Like, you know what I mean? We could use emotes for different things, and I like that. I mean, it adds a little bit of personality to a game where otherwise it's literally just what cards are being drawn every turn, and no entertainment in the in betweens, right? So I like it.
I mean, you just compare it directly to the rest of the market. Like, you just compare it to Hearthstone, really. And, like, the little things, I'd rather do emotes all day than the same.
The emotes are way freaking better than the Hearthstone crap set, dude. Hearthstone is Hearthstone's so far behind on everything. Riot literally made this game. It was like, Hearthstone, you suck. We're making all this. You guys gonna have to catch up. And they still haven't even caught up. It's been like 2 years. They still haven't caught up. It's crazy.
Emotes are coming, dude. Hearthstone's got to get
maybe one day.
All right, these intro questions, we're going deep on these. 2 more. Currently, I guess I'm going to throw the curveball like Josh did. I guess favorite deck to play and then favorite deck to cast.
Oh,
you can take least favorite if you'd rather. That makes it easier.
Favorite, I might be able to do both. So let's see how quick I can think of this here. So Favorite deck to play, I would say is okay. Well, all right. So this is probably going to be no surprise to most people. Favorite deck to play is probably whenever there has been like a burn aggro deck. I've just always been a fan of freaking Go Face, man. Like
Hunter.
You know why though? The only reason I'm a fan of that, because if you catch me at a tournament, it's funny. At a tournament, I'll play a control deck all day. Like, and I like playing control decks against competitive players. But I am
laddering though.
I hate I absolutely despise laddering. Like, to me, it's such a waste of time to ladder. But like you got to get the rank so you can show other people like I got the rank. So. But yeah, that's why, because burn I could ladder way freaking faster. Least favorite deck. I don't know. That's hard. That's probably harder. Is the least favorite deck? I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? My least favorite deck is TF Swain.
It's making a comeback.
It's starting to make a comeback. Yeah. And but I think just because of like, maybe it was mainly because of Riptide, but it just seemed like it was it was just easily consistent. Like it was like a control deck that didn't take skill almost. It's like you knew what to play on curve. You're just going to wait until you get Leviathan. As long as they don't have removal, you can pop down Leviathan. And like, I don't know, it just seemed a little bit too easy for a control deck. If I do play a control deck, like I want it to be difficult. Like that's why I'm playing a control deck. I'm playing a control deck because I think I can outsmart my opponent playing versus them, right? Whereas if you're playing burn, it's like you don't think you can outsmart them. You just think you can go face faster than they can. So we'll go with that. Oh, and then you said favorite to cast.
Yeah, I feel like if I was casting, I would definitely have some. I've casted like once or twice for our in-house tournaments for giggles, but I know just some decks I would just find so boring to cast. So I feel like least favorite might be a better answer or an easier answer to give.
Least favorite. Oh, this is easy. Never mind. This is super easy. You guys are probably gonna know what I'm gonna say. Spooky Karma, man.
Spooky Karma.
Like,
that's pretty boring.
I can't. I just can't. I don't even want to play that as a control player just to like quote unquote outsmart my opponent. Like that's just you're just doing an injustice to the card game. Don't play that deck.
And it's gonna be a long game too. It's gonna be a long game. Yeah. Get through that nonsense. All right, shifting gears for the last intro question. Looking forward, I mean, it really is only January 21st. This January feels like it's taken a while. We have Affilios coming out, but more excitingly, we have Shurima coming out. You said you played League. What is the one thing you want in Shurima? I mean, we're probably getting 6 champions eventually.
I just want Rammus, man. I just want Rammus, man. I really want to see how they make Rammus is the biggest thing. Because like, how do you equal running around a map at full speed? Like, I don't know how you translate that to a card game, right?
This is a little off topic. Do you see they're changing his ult?
To the
Wild Rift ult.
The wild. Oh wait, they're changing it to what they did for the Wild Rift.
Yeah, so he has the jump. He has the jump and slam.
He like hops down now. Like
yeah.
I mean, that's not really why I like Rammus in the first place. I like him because you can just queue and just race across the map. But but yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do in a card game for that, right?
Rally Rammus. Could you imagine?
That's a good point. Yeah, they haven't really translated speed into the game, right?
A burst champion, could you imagine?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Trying to think, have they really translated any speed? I mean, like, not really. Like, Katarina, I guess, has the rally effect to a degree. Like, Hecarim's like the other fast champ, right? And he has nothing.
Like, he just brings followers.
Yeah, he doesn't. They didn't go off his, quickness at all. So that's a really good point. How do they bring fastness?
Well, so the followers on Hecarim came from his ult.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Well, not his E.
So they were able to translate that. So maybe they don't focus on the Q. Maybe they focus on the taunt. I imagine they'll focus on the taunt aspect of it, right?
Yeah, that'd definitely be easier. Yeah.
Like almost like a reverse vulnerable where like they have to attack this unit every turn or something like that. And when he takes damage, something happens. I imagine that's how they'll do it.
It's super interesting, and it's actually a good topic to talk about as we're going in. But like, whenever we've interviewed anybody, they've always said that they did this experiment where they said, "All right, what's like the first word that comes to your mind when you say Rammus? Like, what is playing Rammus into you?" And then they try to capture that mechanic. And I feel like the number one thing is going to be speed, right? I mean, I've never played Rammus, but I've played against them plenty, and it's just fast.
It's speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is.
His voice lines are going to be legendary.
I actually have a button on my Stream Deck too for okay. Like, he really, his voice lines are going to be on point. I hope they make a cool emote. His should be the only emote that actually has a voice with it too.
That'd be awesome.
Great.
That'd be so BM though. That'd be so spamming.
Okay.
Oh my God, it'd be fantastic. All right, so let's transition and talk about some tournaments in general. So, firstly, we didn't really give you a shot to run down your checklist. I guess checklist is the right word. Your little resume here. What is break it down for us. What have you casted that people know? I mean, that are listening that may have not watched a ton of tournaments because we get a wide variety of people.
Yeah. Man, like if you can name it, it's I've probably done it at some point with Boulevard too. I mean, so biggest thing I got started with was initially Duels of Runeterra, which is actually making a comeback, by the way, at the end of this month.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I think that's actually going to be the 30th and the 31st.
Oh, nice.
So there's that. There's the OLS, the Online League Series, which was made by a friend of Boulevard's, and we've been growing that one. I mean, that one initially it was like a $20 prize, and we got it up to almost 100 people. We just now increased the prize pool to $100 on that one.
Nice.
And there's always over 100 people now that tournament. So there's that. The LBR, the Brazilian one, Terror League. Yep. We got the LRA, which we're actually not doing this season, unfortunately, because we're focusing on the LBR. But that's the Liga Runeterra de las Americas, which is specifically the Southern American. So there's a Brazilian one, and then there's a Southern American league. A lot of the teams overlap too with both leagues.
Right.
That's like Team Sultans. If you guys have ever heard of those before, so there's a bunch of different Brazilian teams that are all well-known players, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's see what else we've done. Jesus, the big Ascent of Targon when Targon came out.
The
big one. We did that. Unfortunately, not the seasonal Riot. Come on. One of these days. And actually, so some of the Korean ones too, we'll do like a recast of because the Korean ones actually get huge viewership in Korea.
Yeah,
and there's no English cast usually for them, so we try to redo them, and then Boulevard puts them up on his channel.
I've actually seen those ones for the Korean ones because it's hard to watch the Korean one. You have no idea what's going on. That you have to actually watch on mute. I could put up with. So
oh, gee, thanks. Yeah. Well, and the graphics for the Korean one, man, they're so good. Have you seen those?
Yeah, they are.
I have not.
Oh, they're so. It's called. One of them was called King of Runeterra. It reminded me of Yu-Gi-Oh. What was that thing in the first season? Like Duelist Kingdom, right? Was that what it was?
I do not.
I haven't seen it so long yet.
Yeah, I think it was Duelist Kingdom, but it reminded me of that because it was Kings of Runeterra.
Right.
And so we've done some of the stuff that we did Poro Furioso before.
I've never heard of that, but I don't know how I missed it.
Yeah, right.
Quality name, dude.
Oh man. And then there's probably a bunch that I'm missing, to be honest with you. Whenever people need help casting something, like our biggest thing in the beginning too, and mine was we just wanted to help get Legends of Runeterra's name out there on the competitive scene.
Yeah.
And that's it. I didn't really care how we did it as long as we were there to cast and help the community grow. So I'm glad we're at the point that we're at now.
I definitely did.
Awesome.
I mean, like so many names came from the, what are the Umbrage called? What are you called it? The community-based, whatever it was, the
grassroots,
whatever. Yeah, grassroots, that type of thing.
Yep.
Where you like letting it build up from that aspect, seeing how you guys are doing it. And I've been following. I'm moderately on Twitter all the time, so I've been seeing constantly all of the different tournaments running at all times. It's been awesome. I mean, you guys have put out so many, seen your name everywhere on all these different tournaments. We've seen those, and I mean, I just hope you guys keep going crazy. Sounds like you're planning to. So, Duels of Runeterra, I saw they're coming back. I know they were doing what was the other game they just casted, or they just did a tournament for?
Eternal Return.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's what it was. Which you can actually download like an open beta or something for.
Oh yeah.
It's actually not bad. It's like a weird mix of League of Legends and PUBG.
Huh. Okay.
I know it's an interesting combination, but it actually wasn't bad when I had played it and started. But yeah, they did a tournament for it.
Yeah, I saw that recently, and then that's when I saw the announcement for the end of the month. Yeah.
So I don't know what's up with that game. I have
I've never tried it. So I'm guessing you've done all different formats. Josh, have you even seen? I guess we can talk about the formats real quick. So there's a few different formats going around that people are discussing, and essentially there's there's a sideboard format that's bring one deck, you bring a 10 to 15 card side deck. I've seen a couple different variations, and that's probably my least favorite. And then there's three other main ones that are being gone around talking about it, and Fresh Lobster is talking about them today as well. And we have a caster here, so we need to talk about these formats. So I'll go through them real quick. You have Riot's format. It's an unofficial name, I guess, but that's what the seasonal tournament went on. So you can't overlap champions. You can't have two decks with no champions at all, but you can't overlap regions fully. You have region lock, which is non-overlapping regions, obviously. And then card lock is kind of new going around. I know Morp has been working on card lock a bit as well, and there's been a few other variations of it. But essentially, you can only run 3 copies of X card throughout all 3 decks. So you could run 1 Pale Cascade in each deck. Some variations do that. Some you can only run it in 1 deck. Preferences, I don't know. Josh, you haven't done many tournaments. I mean, any thoughts on those 3 first, I guess, from you?
I think the card lock is super interesting. I don't know how it'll play out, but having to like span out, what you think is like the strongest cards in your deck. So like Pale Cascade is, one of the best combat tricks in the game. Having to, really plan that out, because like if you go into a tournament now and there's no region lock, then it's like you could see Targon in all 3 decks possibly because of how diverse it is. But if you have to span out your Pale Cascades, then you might not be able to use Targon in because Pale Cascade is that important. So I find that super interesting. Just to have to plan around that, and it really forces you to really think about your 1-ofs, 2-ofs, 3-ofs, that type of sort.
Yeah. Shit's just word. I just called you Shit's Creek.
You've been watching that lately?
Yeah,
It's Creek is a good show. Oh man, people are always up in the air. They're like, "Do we call you shit or like or SJW?" Like somebody at Mobile Literally like, care. Oh man,
just works. Have you casted multiple versions of these? Have you casted? All 3 or none? I mean, obviously you've at least casted 1. I'm assuming, but have you had any preference on any of them?
So the only one that I haven't casted is the collection lock, which is what Morp was trying to do.
Yeah.
I've casted all the others. I think that card lock is, the way to go. I think Riot's goal with Riot lock or whatever. I consider that like champion lock, really.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is. Right. That way it's pretty clear like which each one is. Collection card, region, champion. So champion lock allows for more decks to be played in general. Like there's a way more diverse total pool of decks. The problem is, okay, now that we have this large diverse pool, you can also play like the same 3 decks now. Like Invoke as an example. Yeah. You can play a triple Invoke lineup. You could play a triple like aggro lineup. You like with the same 2 regions like Noxus and PNZ or something like that. Like it's kind of ridiculous what you can play. So I prefer card lock more than anything else. Region lock was okay because it was kind of what everybody gravitated to at first, but I don't know. Region lock might get better when we get like more regions, right?
That's true.
You never know.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, champion lock's definitely the best name for that. No, you're thinking about it, because that's definitely what it is. With the added, you can't run 2 non-champion decks or whatever. That's totally fine. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Invoke's a really good example of what you can do. I think Fearsome's another good example. You don't really need the champions that badly. You can definitely mix and mash it. And yeah, there's even like 4 They Who Endure decks. So yeah, I mean, you can. And I ran into people playing in the seasonal. I had one opponent who did just have 2 Fearsome decks. Just switch champions, but 2 Fearsome decks. So yeah, it can definitely happen. And I like how you didn't mention 1 deck sideboard, because that's nonsense.
Dude, yeah, that doesn't exist. Anybody who thinks that exists, no, it doesn't. This game was not a sideboard. Like it's just not gonna happen. I mean, we do have cards like Unearned Passage, that everybody it screams sideboard, but I don't know. At least in the game's current state, sideboard not gonna work, or if it does, it's just not nearly as competitive as the other ones.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I responded with to Fresh Lobster, just anything but sideboard. I'm down.
Yeah. Can I vote for 3?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So do you think because we have all these viable decks, that and it's such a diverse meta, do you think that gives a reason for the sideboard? Just because, there's so many different matchups that you could tech for?
Yeah,
Or
that's
is that is
definitely what I
that
think.
or is that kind of like the opposite where, you're bringing a sideboard to tech against, the top 3 meta decks kind of thing?
Yeah, in my experience anyways with Yu-Gi-Oh, because I actually haven't played Runeterra with a sideboard. I've
Yeah,
only casted it with a sideboard. So if I were to in casting it and haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh with the sideboard, I feel like sideboards are generally to target either your deck's very specific weakness
right.
or like this rampant combo deck, right? Like so Zoe Lee Sin as an example, right? Like you want to very specifically target that deck or again something that you're weak against. So um but it just doesn't jive with this game.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like because only bringing one deck, I don't know, man. There's just something
Yeah.
about only bringing one deck that just doesn't work for this game. I can't really explain it, but I feel like now that you're only bringing one deck, the pool of decks that you can actually bring that's competitive is even smaller because there's
Mhm.
like there's a few decks that work really well with sideboard cards. Like Unearned Passage is actually a really good example because Shadow Isles has so much removal. There's such a like they've forever been like this class that just always or this region that has all the options, all the responses. So now you move to one deck in sideboard. I think Shadow Isles in general, regardless of what format we're in, regardless of what sets come out, they're always going to end up being like usually included in a one deck plus sideboard just because they have so many answers to so many things. They have Ruination for, like mid-range decks. They have Withering Whale for aggro decks. They have Unearned Passage for some special summon shenanigans. I always do that and use Yu-Gi-Oh terminology for that. Special summoning, man. Like, so I think like there's certain classes that just certain regions that have the answers more so than others. And it just really starts to hurt, deck building in regards to tournaments.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. So, like, having a lot of viable decks, it actually hurts, the representation of the game, I guess you could say. And now that I'm thinking about it, for a sideboard, you don't, you kind of want to make it specified. If you have a lot of decks that you're trying to, have a tech for, then you're kind of defeating the purpose of a sideboard if you're just trying to use that sideboard to specify a strength or a weakness. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I think that probably for this game, and we're adding more regions, it would actually hurt the representation of the game. And like you said, either Targon or Shadow Isles in its current state would just be all over the place just because of the answers that they have.
Targon right now is nuts too. Hush alone is, such a good
Insane,
answer for everything. Yeah, and I have actually even discussed with people too. Like, do we think 5 deck lineups might be the way to go once like something like Worlds or something is announced? Like to me, Region Lock seems like a really good format if we're bringing more decks.
Hmm.
yeah, that's true.
And I think you're going to get a very diverse lineup all the time when you have 5 Region Lock decks. But at the same token, 5 card lock decks would probably be pretty diverse as well. But yeah, it's between those two for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, realistically, with 15 sideboard cards, you could change the speed of your Shadow Isles deck. Like, you
Yeah.
could totally just go to a control deck with, like you said, like, oh, okay, I
You
need
can
these
go from
answers.
aggro to control, right?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Hmm.
totally. I mean, it's so Shadow Isles has the biggest reach with those cards. Totally.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely not on board with that. I've played in a few sideboard events, not for Runeterra, for other card games. Never was my thing. I know some people love sideboarding. Adds like another dimension of thought, trying to counter what your opponent's going to sideboard. I'm not a huge fan from the viewership aspect because it does add this weird time delay where they're kind of just like, all right, well, what are they putting in? And now their deck changed, and now you're looking at their deck list. All right, what did they switch out? And that's cool in a sense because you're like, whoa, why did he choose that? And that's interesting. But it just adds this another layer that I don't really need. I'd rather just them show off
Yeah.
all the regions they have in their game.
Yeah, I think, well,
Yeah.
I mean, you've casted them probably, more than I've ever seen. So, I think it is cool in like a summary, but actually watching it live, it's not as
Mhm.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's not. No, and you're right actually about the dead time. It's
Yeah.
it's as casters, I've dealt with worse, trust me. Like I could talk for 8 hours about God knows
Right.
what, just to keep people entertained. But it's just this extra added step. It adds length to the tournament. Then you look at all the real world factors behind that too, adding length to the rounds and adding we don't need that. Like like maybe if there was an easier way to do it, but there's always going to be that 5-minute buffer between games now that you have to worry about. So I'm on the sideboard A.
Yeah, I don't think we're going that direction, luckily. So I don't think we're going to have to deal with that. So that's good. I mean, it doesn't seem it. That kind of transitions into next topic. So, the seasonal was a sort of a hot button issue for a while. People had tons of thoughts. A lot of people from the competitive scene had a lot of thoughts coming out of the seasonal. I mean, about how the format was. I guess just initially, before we even talk about what we could change, what's going to happen. What were your initial thoughts on how it ran, the format, all that jazz? Obviously, you weren't in it. That's one thing they could change.
Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, again, it's just because I'm too lazy to freaking grind ladder. I actually.
I meant casting
any of the gauntlets. Oh, casting it? Yeah. What are you trying to do? You trying to hate on my gameplay now, man? Jesus.
Not what I meant.
It is what he meant.
Yes, I would change the casters, obviously, but. Honestly, the seasonal itself, I don't mind the way everything was set up. I think the fact they even have an in-game client is amazing. Yeah. It's a huge step forward. Again, Hearthstone, something that they never did for 10 years.
10 years,
And they just now are like, oh my God, we can do that. I like it because the intent of that tournament was not to provide the ultra level high competition of who's the best player in the Legends of Runeterra. It was to provide everybody in the entire community a chance at being included in a large-scale tournament. Yeah. And literally, even with this random way to qualify with the gauntlet, which I was not expecting if they did something like this. Like, they even included another game mode to qualify.
Right.
Even doing that, you can qualify. So anybody possibly could get into this tournament. I don't care that it's single elim. I don't care that it's super RNG heavy because it's single elim, and if you get a bad matchup, you're just screwed, right? I get that. I get the complaints about that, but that's not what this tournament is supposed to be for. It's not supposed to give you extra shots to prove that you're the best player. It's just supposed to give everybody a good, fun chance at playing in a competitive tournament. So I actually don't want to change the way the seasonal is, other than the casters. But I think, what do you guys think? Do you guys think do you guys like the seasonal?
Yeah, I was very much on the side of defending the seasonal, which put me in hot water with a lot of the competitive side of players.
Yep.
And I get it. I do get it. It is single elimination. Yeah, they're best of 3 rounds, so it eliminates some of the variant. You can still drop 5 games and make 32 if you drop a round a game. So it is very, very difficult and requires a lot of luck to win the seasonal tournament. 100%. I think you said it flawlessly. I think the point of this tournament was to show off an in-game client that functions flawlessly. I mean, it functioned amazingly. And like you said, Hearthstone still hasn't done it. And Lore did it in their first year. And secondly, let as many people in as they can, which was 1,000 people per 4 regions within the first year. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't ask for more other than if you were to cast it, right?
Oh, but thanks, man. Now you know how to get to me. Okay.
I got it. But I mean, seriously, I was on the side of dude, this is not Worlds. This is an every 2-month event. We have to stop looking at it as the winner of the seasonal tournament is not being held on a pedestal that all the competitive players think they were being held on. Everyone's thinking, oh, this guy won. He's the best player in North America. No, he won a big tournament. It took a lot of luck. It took a lot of skill. I didn't want to take away. He had to win a lot of games to get to that point. Kudos. That's really impressive. But he is not now the best player in the world, and I don't think they think they are either. They won a massive big tournament that allowed so many people in. And I know the competitive community got pretty upset with that because they were like, he's not the best player. I agree, but it's every 2 months. This is 6 times a year we get to go through this. That's
now if he wins again.
Yeah, if he wins back to, I was just going to say that. If he wins back to back, then now we get something. Yeah.
That will silence a lot of people. Yes, if they win twice.
Yeah, he still needs to know a ton of matchups. He still needs to know his strengths and weaknesses with his bands, and if he has
they won a lot of games, man.
It's not like going into every game. Yeah, it's luck depending on the matchup. But even if he probably still got some bad matchups, and he still had to play the correct way to get his odds in his favor. So there is luck because it's a card game, but
100%. Where I kind of I stay out of a lot of the drama for the most part. When I stepped into it was when people were kind of taking shots at the players because they were watching them live, in the finals games, and they're saying like, oh, he misplayed here, he misplayed here, he misplayed here, and I'm like, we're viewing the game. We can see both players' hands.
It's a lot easier. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's also competing for 10K right now. I'm sure he's a little bit nervous. Like, I'm not even talking about a particular game. I didn't even finish watching all of those VODs. I watched a lot of the games, but I didn't watch the finals for both regions. I'm just talking about NA and EU. I didn't watch any of the other two.
You guys are talking specifically about Push P, right?
Him and Den. Yeah, Den won EU. Yeah, so I watched a lot of their games between it. People start taking shots, and I'm like, that's just where I have to draw the line. Like, we can't. There's no reason to take away credit where credit's due, even if it did take some luck as well. And that's kind of where I got involved. So I'm a huge fan of the seasonal tournament. I 0-2'd right away, but I fought back and got the card back. So I won my next 3 rounds. But I had a pretty bad experience right away where my 3 matchup tables were kind of shot, and that's what happens.
And it's like, so with the ladder too, even, right? You have the skill gap between iron and bronze and silver and gold and platinum is very large, right?
Yeah.
And there's probably a certain one, maybe it's like gold to platinum at the end of the season is probably the biggest skill gap. And then platinum to diamond, it decreases. And then diamond and master is probably like the smallest skill gap. Like, it's really just a nominal difference. It's really just, did you grind 500 games to get to where you need to go?
Did you care enough? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you give a shit enough? And, I think, like, with card games, especially because of that, like that's a perfect example. These tournaments are a perfect example. This guy, or both of them, like, they're probably diamond. They're probably, you had to be masters to qualify, right? So, and even if they got, were they both masters?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So they were also both masters in the top 700. So they had the smallest skill gap between what we would say is the number one person in the world. Maybe it's Bruised by God, right? Like, I know he's incredible at the game. A lot of people think of him as one of the better players. So even though Bruised by God might be better, these guys were only nominally worse than him on, playing the game overall, right? It just so happened they got, luckier draws this time around. And that's always going to happen in a card game, no matter what you do. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm glad you had that perspective. So, because I know there was a lot of people that were like, yeah, this guy's bad at the game. Like, he made so many misplays. Like, no, just stop.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I feel like it is what you said, nailed it down. And for me, it's just, look at what the point of the tournament was, and the point of the tournament was not to find the best player. And that's totally fair criticism of a lot of the competitive community. They want a tournament for that. I get that. I think that's coming. I think they do want to give a really competitive experience, like a Worlds or even like a quarterly. This is an every 2-month event. It's not for, let's find the BBG of the community. Let's just have some fun. Let 10,000 people get involved. Josh, you going to make it this time, dude?
Good question.
You were not expecting that question. You're like, wait, what? Who me?
It depends. I just don't play enough games.
No, I feel that.
It's like I'm slowly climbing, and I don't like to use meta. Yeah. So, like, I'm not at the decks that have like a 60 or like 55% win rates where it's like, oh, if I keep playing, I'm going to make it eventually. I'm playing my nonsense, which, if I win, I win. So...
So what the strategy is. So you hit master, right? And then at the beginning of the season, you go on to plat 4, right? So what you do is you just don't play at all until like the last week of the season. And then by then, all the really good players are already in masters. So now you just play for like 2 days straight and you'll get masters. So that's maximize your efficiency in playing the game.
That's a good idea.
That's perfect.
I've done that so many seasons. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I try-harded one season. It was season 2 or the first season of Bilgewater. So I try-harded so hard. I was like, I am getting to masters within the first week. I am doing this, and I'm doing it with my own brew. And I did it with a Radiant Guardian keg deck. It was obnoxious.
Nice.
But I got there on Friday, right? It opened on I got there in like 4 days, and then I had zero motivation to play for like 3 months. And I was like, I am never doing this again. This was not.
You used it all up. You're like, screw this.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. So this time around, it's more like, I'm going to make 3 YouTube videos for the first week. I went up to plat 3, maybe. Like, I'm just taking my time, dude. And I'm like diamond 3 now. I'm like, I do. If I rush this, I do not have a big enough attention span either to grind and to do a podcast, to make YouTube videos like that much. So, Josh, no pressure, dude. Just play at your own pace.
It's crazy because like the season I made Masters, I had an insane win rate in Diamond. It was like 27-7.
Yeah.
That like literally got the Diamond, then went 27-7, and with like
you have to play that many games.
Yeah. So it was like, oh my god, this has to happen every single time. And now there's not Elise and Ezreal to pull me through, and I'm sitting there at like a 55%, 50, maybe less than that win rate, and it's like,
I'm sitting at like a 45, dude.
I'm going up. Just it's like win 1, lose 1, win 2, lose 1, lose 3, win 5. It's like.
It is going to change. I mean, listen, we got affiliates coming out in like 2 weeks, and expecting a large balance patch with it. I mean, I'm expecting a decent sized balance patch.
I hope.
I'd assume.
I hope.
It's been a while since they've changed anything, so I assume. And I mean, I think they haven't changed anything just because we have the full Call of the Mountain release or full Targon release. So they're getting all the data. They're not making any rush decisions. It's not like anything's like super unhealthy. I know Lee is like there. Go hard was there, but there's like enough decks in the meta to where it's like, you don't see them all the time. You see them 10% of the time, but you don't see them all the time.
Right.
So
although today was literally like 10 games of Lee Sin and Ezreal Draven, so it was pretty bad. Today I was like, come on Twitter, taken to you. Last week it was like I was a day where it was just like 7 Scouts decks in a row, and I'm like, I'm done. I was like, I don't feel like playing into this anymore.
I feel like some of this is my fault. I just started because you said you're seeing just Zoe, Lee Sin, and Ezreal Draven. I started working with Mobilytics on doing some of the pro guide videos that they have if you have like a plus subscription or whatever. Nice. And literally the first 2 I did were Zoe, Lee Sin, and Ezreal Draven.
They're good decks.
So now all the gold players started playing those 2 decks, and now that's the issue.
They're good. They're good decks, and they're like these mid-range decks that give a control feel. So like people just love them. They just play them a ton. Which I mean, it's fine. Go have fun. Just I don't want to see them. Even though I found a deck that absolutely.
More fun anywhere else, dude.
Yeah, I'm playing a deck right now that straight runs over Zoe and Lee Sin if you just get like an early rush, and it's super funny because like they lose by turn 5. They can't even get Lee Sin on the board and they lose. So every time I queue and sit, I'm like, yes, give me the high roll. Just let me do it. Just let me run over them. So
all the Lee Sin, and you get all Scout deck. Come on, dude.
Yeah, this freaking Grand Plaza just eats me up sometimes.
Yeah, dude. Grand Plaza's pretty. I mean, that was the talk of the town for like a week there.
Everybody thought that was going to be straight busted, and it's really not nearly as unhealthy as I think everybody made it out.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fine.
In certain matchups, it's pretty oppressive, but it is. The landmarks are greedy. So like, if you just make decks that capitalize on opponents' greedy turns, then you most likely win, or at least you increase your chance of winning. So
yeah. All right, so we talked about the seasonal, and you kind of said this already, kind of alluded this, but you're happy with it. So changes in the future, you're not on board for a ton of changes. You like how it is mostly?
Not for the seasonal. I am a little bit, angered, I guess you could say, or disappointed that they didn't announce Worlds or anything like that when something like Hearthstone even had one like super early in its life cycle. So I personally am thinking that July is when, or June is when that's going to be announced. It seems like that's the way Riot would do it. Just, they're not going to jump the gun on anything. They're going to announce it then everybody can market it for the next 6 months, and then it'll be at the end of the year. So, but if we don't get it announced by then I'm going to be a little bit, concerned, I guess, because I do think we need a Worlds this year.
I agree. Yeah, I think they need to hit that market for sure. A lot of people are wanting it. And like I said, I totally agree. I don't think the seasonal, I think they're going to make some changes because of the backlash, but I don't think it's the right place for it. I think another tournament is the right place for it, like you said. And I think that would totally work out. There is like an anniversary thing that's coming on the roadmap. I think, was that in June as well? I could see them announcing it then. It might have been like May or something. But I could see them announcing it sometime, like you said, in the next.
Oh no, that's April, right? Wasn't that when the game?
Is that April? Oh yeah, like April 30th it released or whatever.
So
it is.
Okay, they could actually also now. That would be awesome if they did it then. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
April or June. I think you're right. Somewhere in the next 4 to 6 months. If they don't have some announcement of it happening and it happening this year as well, like you said, I think that's really important. Let's hope. We talked plenty about casting experience, so we're going to go to some listener questions. We got a couple questions on Twitter and Discord, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, some of these freaking questions, man. All right, yep.
Some of them are setting you up pretty bad. The first one is, do you also buy Monster in bulk? And if so, what flavor? This is from Lucia.
So, funny story. I actually did used to do the same thing when I was maybe 5 years ago or so, 4 years ago. I would go to BJ's and buy the white 0-calorie Monster, which is probably worse for you than the regular Monster, to be honest with you. It's got like 7,000 preservatives in it. And yeah, I would just buy like a case of those for like $20 and just go ham. I mean, it's definitely not healthy for my heart, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, so, yeah, for those wondering, I do that with fruit snacks. Get go to Sam's and just buy a bunch of fruit snacks. All right, we kind of covered this, Lucia, but we're asking anyway. What deck matchup is your favorite to cast? So you said least favorite earlier, which was Spooky Karma. Do you have a particular favorite to cast?
Oh, honestly, it's not just one. It is any deck that is just freaking weird. Like if somebody has the balls enough to go to a tournament, and if you're like starting 2-0, 3-0, and one of the decks in your lineup is just weird as fuck, and I'm down. I'm down to cast it, and I have such a fun time doing it. Yeah.
Just keep you on your toes. Yeah, that seems like the most fun.
Yep.
Josh, I'm gonna let you take this next one. Dude. I can't even.
Okay.
This is...
There's only one answer to this question.
There's a lot of answers.
Oh God, I hope I get this right. All right, what is it?
What is your favorite podcast and why?
There's two.
Right, so I can go now, right?
You're good.
Exit page left. Okay. So as far as it's really just you guys in Runeterra that does the podcast, right? For Legend of Runeterra.
There's a few other ones as well. Yeah.
So I will say your guys' podcast is like the ones that I like know about, right? And your guys' podcast is awesome. But if I'm gonna go outside of the Runeterra realm because I feel like I'm biased with that, right?
Yeah. My favorite podcast is also outside of the Runeterra realm.
Yeah. And this is okay. It's actually I kind of want to say Rogan, but that's kind of cliche. I feel like a lot of people like Rogan, but
everyone likes Rogan.
Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you guys have ever heard of him.
Yeah, Gary V or whatever.
Yeah, Gary V. He's got a podcast. Yeah. I like a lot of his ideologies and stuff like that. So he's a pretty bomb guy. If you're looking for like motivation too, he's not like a motivational guy, but his business sense is inherently motivational as well. So definitely check him out.
That's sweet. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you're gonna go with like my wife's favorite is all like crime and like just like murder and stuff.
That's what my girlfriend likes. I don't understand it. Like, why did you want to talk about murder all day? Like,
dude, I walked into the kitchen and she's just got to play for her phone. It's just like, and the body was found. I'm like, what?
Some of them are so interesting. It's amazing. I love the true crime is great.
They are. Yeah, I will say, I've seen some of them. Like my girlfriend has had me watch like some of the documentaries and stuff too.
Yeah.
Some weird messed up shit. Like I never like. You're like, people do that. Like,
yeah, right.
Like what the hell?
Yeah, hearing some crazy cult story about just crazy nonsense.
What happened?
For the true crime, it really matters. The narrator for me, I like the voice needs to be there.
See, that's the thing. I can deal with watching documentaries because it's visual, but like just listening about it, for some reason, it's just like the inner thoughts are just all about murder. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with my wife? I didn't know gonna go there.
Your wife and my girlfriend are gonna be seeing the same therapist in a couple of years. Yeah. So.
There's a lot of people. I really thought I was like, maybe it's this. This is the brand because that's like the biggest. I get ads from all the time. That's like the biggest podcasting thing.
True crime is crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, we got a question from your partner here, Boulevard. Who is your favorite caster and why?
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I don't like what the hell, man. I don't know. I mean,
is there anyone that inspired you to cast?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go that route.
Let's go.
We're just saying Boulevard. He's not your favorite.
Yeah, right.
Or you're not his favorite.
My favorite. He's my favorite caster to cast with. Right.
That's something. That's something.
I'm gonna go with Captain Flowers. Captain Flowers, because that guy does not give a shit what people think when he does stuff on cast. Like, he is just a complete idiot sometimes, and I love it. And but like, you gotta be entertaining. Like, I have this discussion a lot of times with other casters too. It's like, it's not just about, like, people can watch the screen and they can see what's going on. They don't always need you to tell them every single thing that's going on. They do play-by-play is good and all, but like, you need to add that little bit of pizzazz to it, right? A little bit of spice. And this guy just, like, he's awesome. There's a reason why he's doing so good in the LCS and all that stuff right now. So, and I watch a lot of that too. The league, I really hope LCS steps up their game. Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Yep. Some of the casters that can do the play-by-play, I am just baffled. It's so insane.
That's impressive. Yeah, that's league play-by-play is like, oh my god, like, how does your brain work that fast?
And how do you talk that fast? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. Josh, do you have a favorite? I mean, you can answer too if you want.
Do I have a favorite caster?
Yeah, I'll go for it. Mine's Joe Rogan from the UFC. He's a super solid. I mean, I'm sports. Yeah. Super solid caster. He's very, very exciting when he casts that. So, but that's like old school. I think he still does it. But I mean, I remember like the old school UFCs where he's like nobody watching and he was just casting, going nuts. Quality.
Yeah, favorite caster. I've actually never thought about that. You know, as of 5 minutes ago, my favorite is Shit Just Works.
Yes! All right, I got one fan. I got one.
No, I guess if we're thinking about it, you know, in League, I really, like, I've been watching LCS, like, on and off for, I guess, 9 years. I really like Freak. I like when he casts. He doesn't do it as much now, but I really enjoy when he was casting, and he's just a cool guy, so I enjoyed his casts. I enjoyed the rare times that he streams. I saw him streaming this. I guess it was like a promotional thing. It was like a couple months ago, but he was streaming. I was like, oh my god, Freak's playing Runeterra.
Sick.
Oh, he was just playing. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I'd watch that. All right, Deech. This is a bit more of a serious question than the last. Deech asks, are you confident in the direction lore is going right now?
So, I hate myself for even saying this too right now. So, all right. Right this second, no. Because they didn't announce Worlds. And I feel like they have found a lot. Now, it could just be because you guys said, like, everything seems in an okay spot. The whole Call of the Mountain set is out, so maybe they want to evaluate the data and then make changes. But it seems like they keep pushing back updates for, like, random reasons to just, like, delay it. Like, they told us the schedule is going to be like every 2 weeks. They're going to do a patch every 4 weeks. It's going to be a major patch. That schedule is complete garbage. Like, it hasn't been followed. And I know shit happens. I know COVID, obviously is a thing. But so those kind of concern me a little bit. The game itself, though, like, I think the game's on point. I think this game is gold. I think this game is perfect. I think if they announce Worlds, I am so freaking happy where this game is going. I think everything is, because the issue is right now, a lot of people play Hearthstone. That's like still the number one competitive card game, even though their numbers like tanked on YouTube because they switched and all that crap, right? But people that are on professional teams, like I watched Savage, I watched Tice, like I watched those guys when I play Hearthstone. Like I love a lot of those streamers. Dog, like half of them don't even freaking play the game anymore. They play Battlegrounds. That's not Hearthstone. And like I don't care what anybody tells me, that's not Hearthstone. Right?
It's like saying TFT is league, right?
Yeah, TFT is different. Like it's in a different category for a reason. I still have no idea why they don't split those up. Probably because their numbers suck. But I'm just telling the truth. So, but to get those pro players off of Hearthstone, they need a reason to come here. Yeah. And that's like all this competitive scene for this game needs, I think, is pro players from other card games coming over. We have a lot of Magic players that have come over. But a lot of the Magic players don't really seem to have a huge online following. A lot of them were like in tournaments, like pro circuits and stuff like that in person. Exactly. So it's a little different. Whereas Hearthstone, it's total online presence. You get somebody like Dog to play, Legends of Runeterra every day. All right, this game is like, it's so many people are going to find it. The game's good enough. We don't need to prove that the game's good enough. We just need people to find it, and getting those players over here with something like a world championship, I think is going to do that. So right this very second, no, but in general, this game is so good. It's on point. It's on the right path as long as they announce worlds and do all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with all that. Honestly, that was perfectly said. I casually super on point, like this co-op lab. I've seen so many people, like even just today, we had a guy join the Discord and he was like, I like, living card games. I like playing card games with friends, but it's hard to get someone to want to face me when I know the game. And now they can get them in and play against the computer with a pre-made deck. Like it's hitting all these markets so well. It just has this one big one to close out on. And then, that's the type of stuff that people come over and then they find that, it also has this awesome co-op lab. This is cool. It's not going to be the big grab that, there's a co-op lab. Here comes millions of people ready to play it. No, it's here's a, X amount of money tournament with, big names. That's going to get people to come play it.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. All right. 2 more questions here. Emotional asks, who is your favorite tournament player and why is it me?
Freaking Mo, man. Well, I don't know why it's you, Mo. I really don't. Apparently it was just tossed on my shoulders. Honestly, I have a lot of them. I really like Trevo. I really like Deech. I really like a lot of the Brazilian community because they're so, I don't know, man. They're just so awesome. They're such a cool community. Yeah. But Trevo is definitely up there on my list, mainly because I caster cursed him one time and, we kind of got this long standing thing going. But, and I think every time I played in this one time on ladder, all we literally did the entire game was emote back and forth. Like I don't even know if we actually played the game. So,
so excited to see your friend.
yeah. Right. So it's definitely close between like Deech and Trevo and some of the Brazilian players. And, on the American side, I really like Cephalopod too. I really like Cephalopod because of how freaking bossy is it just grinding tournaments. Like I know what it's like to grind casting. This dude just grinds tournaments like a boss. And I definitely have mad respect for that.
Dude, man, we host we haven't done one in a few months now. We've done 6 or 5 total, but they're all jank tournaments. We'll just play like only in lab tournaments or only even cards or only mono decks or I forget what even other ones. We were trying to do like a Christmas one where you get picture given. Dude, he came in and grinded 2 of those with us. It's like 16-person tournament. $20 prize for first 5, 10 or whatever it was. Like in Cephalopod's in here cranking them out. I'm like, he's in a lab tournament, man, and just going for it. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, if it's got the word tournament next to it, he's in.
I want it. He's a beast. Josh, you want to ask that last question?
Yes.
You can't even ask this.
From Boulevard himself.
Yeah, I know.
What is your least favorite tournament player? Or who is your least favorite tournament player?
So I'm doing it. I'm taking the cop-out answer. Because I couldn't possibly, I don't even know if I actually have a least favorite player because like I've never had a bad interaction with people. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But my least favorite tournament player is Boulevard. And he is playing in Fight Night this Friday. So let's see how good you do, Boulevard. All right.
Have you ever
it's tomorrow?
Yeah. Have you ever cast it and there's like a tasteless emote that goes out that rubs you the wrong way? Has that ever happened?
Oh, where it's like I actually get like mad that somebody BMs me,
or like while you're casting, you're just like, why did that guy BM there? Like what?
Actually, I want to say I can't remember a specific time, but there's definitely times where they'll try to BM, and I'm like, damn, like he is. Actually, I think it was Trevo. That me and Boulevard were casting, and Trevo like threw out some emotes. We're like, "Damn, Trevo, like that's savage. Like, what are you like? Chill the fuck out. Like, I don't know what you're trying to prove here, man." But Trevo's like Trevo just throw him out like nobody's business with the emotes. So, it's happened.
That's awesome.
That's a solid question. Yeah, just the one that kind of just makes you be like, "Oh God, did he just do that?" Dude?
Cringe.
That's fantastic. All right, to close out here, I'm going to throw every link that he says right now in the description of the podcast, YouTube video, whatever you're watching on. But can you just tell the people where to find you, personally, I guess?
Oh, man. All right. Oh, God, I wasn't prepared for this. YouTube / SchitJustWorks. Twitter, SchitJustWorks. Sometimes with a C, sometimes without. Just keep that in mind. Just because of filters. Facebook, I got SchitJustWorks. I think that's right. Oh, and actually, you know what? Just go to my website. It's I actually have a website, SchitJustWorks.gg, and it's got all my social stuff on there. It's got some tournament footage. I have a blog on there. So if you guys check that out, you'll be able to find everything else at that point. So
perfect. Yeah, send me those links. They'll be in the description, like I said. Josh, do you have anything else here?
And well, I want to say thank you to my second subscriber on my Twitch channel, Sky Blue.
Hey.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kavir and Andrea Summerfield, for giving me the follows. Thank you for coming and tuning in. That's all I
dude,
got.
Josh has been stepping his stream game up, dude. I've been making YouTube videos. I haven't felt like streaming, but Josh has been there. So if you guys feel like hanging out, he's there. That link is always in the description. And yeah, guys, we're on everything: Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, Google Play. I don't even know some of them.
Podbean. I never even heard of Podbean.
Yeah, there's some weird ones.
Yeah. I get emails. It's like, you've made top 7 podcasts for in Latveria for gaming, and I'm like, I did? Like, what? I did. 2 listens, top 7, baby.
I think I got an email for our podcast the other day. And oh, by the way, I also have a podcast, Game Wild. It's just video games. It's just about video games. Like not just Legends of Runeterra. And yeah, we got an email and it was like, your podcast has been approved to go on this thing. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. I don't even think I cared if it went on that or not, but thanks, man. Like, I appreciate it.
Dude. Yep. Yeah. Blogspot said we're on like some top 10 list. I'm just like, I don't even know what's going on, dude. But it's always in like a random country. I'm like, there's probably one follower out there.
That's why it's in the top 10.
One guy's got us covered, dude.
You got the best podcast in Montana.
Yeah.
Where nobody lives.
Exactly. Thanks, man. Thanks for the one guy. But yeah, guys, make sure to go drop this guy a follow everywhere you can and tune in. Do you have I guess last question. Do you have a next tournament that you're casting, since we covered a lot of casting things? Do you have anything lined up currently?
Yeah, actually taking a rare break this weekend. And then next week is Duels of Runeterra. The week after that weekend is Online League Series. Again, Duels of Runeterra, I think, is a $200 total prize pool. Online League Series is a $100 total prize pool, and it's open to anybody who wants to join.
So if you want to watch this guy cast it, or if you want to play in it, we'll you can definitely check those both out and jump on in. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
We'll catch you guys later.
See ya.
Peace.
Away.